Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Uh,
It's great to be live again. I mean, like live
right.
Yeah,
This is happening right now.
as we speak at 11.
This looks like a different background for you.
Yes, I am. I do not want to show you around because it is a mess in here. I am in my home in Delaware, trying to fix a few things. So, yeah, it is
Um,
interesting.
I think some people know that you are from San Diego in part. Um, and you just talked about what it costs to live in San Diego.
Yes.
It's expensive to live there?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, so we were just talking, my best friend was visiting me. And I think there's this report or whatever it was that found San Diego to be the most expensive city to live in the country based on like the average income of that like location. So that is one of my dreams was to always own in San Diego. It's diminishing as we speak. But yeah, which is partly one of the reasons why I purchased a home in Delaware too.
I'm curious in why it draws so many of our peers in this space, right? Elliot Washer lives there. High Tech
Yes.
High is there. Real World Scholars are there. Today's guest is there.
Mhm.
It's a bit of a progressive hub, but I guess knowing it's also expensive to live there, um, props
Is
props to doing the work in a place that may not be as economically welcoming to educators, like
right.
Oakland or San Francisco. Even I know those are very difficult places to teach and live. Anyway, with that, let me welcome our guest from San Diego, Alyssa Aguadello. Hello, Melissa.
Yes.
Not me. Where is she? There we go. Welcome, Alyssa. How are you?
I am doing very well. I'm super excited to be here with you.
Well, thank you so much for being on our show today. The last time we met, we saw each other was actually at ASU GSV last year.
That's right.
And you just started, right, with Lincoln.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right. I
tell
just
us
made the transition.
what's that been like in the last, what was it, 6 to 9 months, maybe 6 months? How are things going for you there?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love it. There is nothing better for me than to be in a school surrounded by Latino and Black kids who grew up, similar to how I grew up. So I feel warm and fuzzy and at home with the population here. It's also a community that is really passionate about this school. So one of the things historically about Lincoln is that it has struggled with turnover in leadership for, 20, 30 years. It's been hard to maintain a leadership team. And I think there's been a variety of reasons for that, and that's not for me to speak to. But when I made the commitment to come here, one of the biggest things I'm doing this year, which is also my favorite part, is just relationship building, getting to know people. I making that concerted effort to be like, I'm gonna get to know every kid I can. I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna get into classrooms, not to necessarily think about moving pedagogy right now, because right now what I need to do is just to prove to people that I'm here, I'm present, I'm loving, I'm passionate, I'm serious, I'm not serious, and I'm here just to kind of to do this thing. So that has given me a lot of comfort, right, this year. That's kind of where all my eggs are, in that relational basket right now.
Yeah.
Lincoln needs a lot of love. A lot of schools do. I'm happy to be here helping to kind of lead that work. And I'm really excited for some of the wins we're already seeing, the relationships we're already building. So yeah, it's good. It's good. It's hard work. It's good work, but it's hard work.
Fun fact, when I was at the Met, I used to live a few blocks from Lincoln, off of Market, by the Tocumbo. But I also know when I taught in DC, I met a few Lincoln alum with so much pride for Lincoln. Like, I'm like, wow, I'm surprised we never crossed paths, but they're just like Lincoln pride, like all the way. So there is a lot of pride, and I'm so happy that you're there, and hearing a lot of great things. I still have friends who, Lincoln alums, who are still posting about just like community involvement and supporting the school even now. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Well, I do want to say real quick too, it's the big picture that still lives in my back pocket that really I think has helped me create a lot of those wins. Like starting our first internship program has been huge. We're starting a partnership with City College, which is called Workforce Wednesdays. And yesterday we had cosmetology career pathway people coming. We had so many kids that showed up to learn about that, and the interest is high. And what I love is when they come, they get a t-shirt that says trade school is college.
Mhm.
And just like bringing that big picture ethos, right? Riffing off of, well, I'll be honest, quoting a bunch of things I've heard from smart big picture people and taking credit for them is really what I'm doing, which I'm happy to do.
Yes.
But being able to take what is happening in these amazing big picture enclave schools like all around the country and to try to see what I can do to scale it to prove that it can happen in a bigger school, right? That we can have these partnerships and that it does it, while it is lovely in smaller schools like the Met, absolutely, we don't have to say, well, that's what that school is for. We can bring these things into big schools. So we're starting small, 36 kids in my first internship program, and that's out of a school population of about 1,400. So I'm starting small, but big wins. We had 60 kids apply for the 36 spot. So we even had a deep waiting list, and we're currently opening up more and more partnerships because the proof of concept, no surprise to you guys, is real. The proof of concept is this works. So yeah, I just wanted to shout out my big picture love and learning from the last few years that I'm able to kind of leverage here and falsely claim as my own. So,
and it also helps to kind of like break away from this like perception that people have about like, oh, I have to go to my neighborhood school. Like, you know, like that's like the last ditch effort, but it's like, no, like, oh, I want to go to because look at these programs. So correct. Yes. And so how can people know about the work that you're doing? I know that you're trying to amp up your social media presence.
Yes. I mean, one of the things we want to do is have people really know what's happening here at Lincoln. And like so many schools, there's a perception of Lincoln, but then there's the reality of Lincoln. So we're really proud that we're working on our social media presence. I'd love to invite anyone to follow us. Our two most vigorous presences are on Twitter, where we're at Lincoln High SD, and then Instagram, we're Lincoln High SD. So it's pretty easy to remember. We are working on sharing how we're increasing real world applicable science, hands-on stuff. We're shining on all of the efforts we're making at getting our kids to leave to learn. Let's get out of Lincoln and let's go see what's happening in our community. So we're anybody that wants to follow, we would welcome those followers and feedback and celebrations with us.
Thank you. Yes, I'll make sure to follow as well. I think one thing that I love about you is that you are just such a big inspiration, and then just your charisma is just amazing, and I want it and I need it. But with that said, I love strong women, and it is March. It's Women's History Month, and this is my transition to being an incredible leader. But what does being a woman mean to you? I know that's such a loaded question, but I don't know what comes to mind. Yeah, to you, Melissa.
I mean, I think I have to speak about this with the intersectionality of being a Latina woman, because those two things are for me, obviously, they are so intertwined that I can't speak about one or the other. I think for me, it's hard as a Latina woman to not constantly remember that I am here to not only stand on the shoulders of those who came before me, but I'm here to be the strongest shoulders I can to prop up those that are coming up after me. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm so proud to work in education, because I get to see all of these brown women that I'm like, all right, like I got here, where are you going? Right? Mm-hmm. Like, where can I help you get to? So for me, the power is in like remembering that everything I do is an example for others. So existing always from a space of joy. I love that I'm in the Cup of Joy Cafe, but I always existing from a space of joy, a space of love, a space of excitement, a space of celebration, is because that's what I want girls coming up behind me to see. I also want them to see that it's okay to be a little bit live, a little bit energetic, right? We don't have to just conform to those other things. And then, so for me, that's kind of the most powerful thing, is I want to remember that I want to wedge myself between those who came before me and those who are coming after.
Mm-hmm. And then I also just want to shout out, I often feel, being in the East Coast, I'm very much like, I'm Mexican, right? Because I don't, there's not a lot of, at least the communities that I'm in, a lot of Chicanas, right? So I'm very explicit about like, I am a Chicana. Your background, tell me about, you're a Latina woman, but from where?
Yeah. I'm Colombiana. I'm very
Colombiana,
proud
there you
of it.
go.
Yeah.
Yes, and I want to uplift that too, you know?
That's right. That's right. Both of my parents immigrated. I was born here, but very much Casa Colombiana. Very proud of my heritage. I'm very proud of all my parents did, which is always mind-blowing to me. It's hard to even think about what my parents did to get here. Which is why I think standing on the shoulders of my mama in particular is something I'm very proud of.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Chris, you've been so quiet. I'm so sorry.
No, what am I going to say? No, if I could, I'd like to make a comment. And like, I know Melissa well enough to know that there's some jest in this idea that she's stealing from Big Picture, right? But the way I think is like Big Picture is a set of paints, right? And how you take that paint and apply it to a canvas is entirely your touch. And honestly, what happens a lot with Big Picture is then we look at that canvas and we say, oh, we really need to add like a new paint to our palette, because the way that Melissa applied the model really sheds new light on ways that other schools could benefit from what we do. So we also steal from you often.
Yeah, that's very kind.
For sure. Man, I mean, this you have filled the cup of joy to the brim.
Oh, good. Good.
Yes, there's a lot to take from. I'm gonna go back and rewatch this. Yeah. So I thank you for accepting this invitation. I think you're the perfect person to kick off our March episode. So I will always.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to stay super connected to my Big Picture family and to be able to continue to spread the news of Big Picture and the reality that this is what we need more of. When we all say we can't go back to school as usual, Big Picture is a great place to look at to say we can do school differently, and we have to. So,
well, thank you so much. We're gonna see each other very, very soon. So appreciate you. And if everyone please follow them on social media on Instagram and Twitter. Right? Yes. Perfect. Lincoln High SD. All right. Until next time, and this is where we boot you. There we go.
I have a video clip of Melissa from Big Bang where she not only talks about doing school differently, but doing conferences differently. Oh. Listen to this very, very beautiful segue I'm making right now, right? So I want to shout out 3 conferences. So next week, you and I and several of our colleagues will be in Austin for South by Southwest, where among other things, we'll be doing leadership journeys. If you don't know what that is, you need to find yourself at one. In addition to Austin, another place you can experience leadership journeys is at ASU GSV in San Diego in April, where Melissa will be our MC for the event. So exciting. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Big Bang, Big Picture's annual conference coming to you this July in South Florida. Learn more at bplevents.org. Oh man, let me turn off the commercial version of Chris.
I know, I'm like, wow.
Right? All right, Carla, what do you want to plug? What do you want to say before we conclude?
What do I want to plug? Nothing. I just want to say I hope it for this month of March, find, a friend, a woman, your mother, your sister, anyone who identifies as a woman. Praise them, show them some love, give them a hug, appreciate them. Yeah, that's all I want.
Carla.
Yes.
I love you.
Thank you. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. With that though, we're closing it off. So I hope you make it a great day or not. The choice is yours.
We'll see you next week from Austin, Texas.
Yeah.